All righty.
Recording is now on. Anonymous Coward is also recording. I think.
Okay, we'll give. Let's see. I am not seeing. Oh, okay. I am seeing the record button on here. So okay, and hopefully Anonymous Coward is kicked in as well. So,
Okay.
Let's see. This is Thursday, January the 21st, 2021. This is a meeting of the St. Louis LUG Linux Users Group, and it's our usual third Thursday of the month meeting. So, let's see. First off, just general Q&A and announcements. By way of announcements, next month, the Wednesday meeting, the tutorial will be on, I believe it's called Speedbar, which is a function that depends on Emacs, but it basically is a very fast file browser that you can see the directories below you and above you, and but Stephen Stegman will be doing that presentation next month. The other two presentations, and I'm not sure yet which ones will be on Thursday and which one will be on Wednesday, but one of the talks will most likely be Robert Sitek doing a presentation on Git, details to come, and then hopefully we'll have somebody from SUSE. We're crossing our fingers and hope that'll come through. So those are the things coming up for our meetings next month. Of course, another thing with our meetings, or the other type of meetings we have rather than presentations, are the more help type meetings. That would be the Slack meeting, which basically is any kind of hardware, even whatever type of operating system. I mean, they'll talk about BSD, even talk about Microsoft Windows, but nobody really likes that. But that's the Slack, the St. Louis Area Computer Club. And the other one is the newbie lug, as we lovingly call it, where
who does?
Say again, Stan?
Who does?
But
it's a newcomer lug. I don't like the word newbie. A lot of people don't like that word.
Newcomer lug.
Newcomer lug.
Okay. So, but oddly enough, a lot of people who are very experienced also go to that, and that's what makes it fun, because you get all these experienced people, and when somebody with a little less experience comes in, it's awfully darn helpful to be able to schmooze and ask some questions about how things are working. So, are they on the usual date, Stan?
It'll be on Tuesday next week.
Okay. That one is the newcomer log, correct?
That's a newcomer log, yeah.
Ready.
And this meeting also meets on every third Thursday, except when it happens to follow the next day from the general meeting. And I believe the April is when we're going to have this meeting on the fourth Thursday instead of the third Thursday. But it works out really fine, because then the following week is the newcomer lug. Okay. So it spaces them out really nice.
Okay.
The only exception is I like to do the newcomer lug on the third Tuesday of the month in December, because of Christmas and the way it lines up and everything. So
let's see. Another announcement is all the groups I just mentioned are part of STLLUG, the St. Louis Linux Unix Users Group. And so that's an actual 501c6 corporation. According to our bylaws, we have annual elections for the board of directors. That will take place next month, the month of February. And so there will be 2 seats that will be either up for either open or up for re-election. That'll be coming up next month. So if anyone's interested in running, this is your chance to put your name in the hat and run for election next month. Anybody who's been at 2 meetings in the previous calendar year is considered a member and is eligible to vote. More details to follow, unless anybody has any specific questions on that.
And note that if somebody sends me a $20 bill, I make sure their name is not on the ballot.
any problems will go to the Supreme Court at some point or another. So,
so far, Stanford has not sent me a $20 bill.
there we go. Oh my. Anybody else have an announcement of any sort? We know we'll all think of these right after we get done.
I have a question.
Okay, let's go to general Q&A. Just anybody got a question?
Yeah, it's not a general Q&A. It's the question about what you just said.
Okay.
So you said that anybody who attended, and I presume virtual it is included in attending right now. So you don't have to be in the state necessarily, right?
No.
Correct.
Okay, and then the final question is, I was thinking about, because last year was the women's right to vote, right? Anyway, it was interesting because you said that if you have attended 2 meetings in the last calendar year, you're eligible to vote. But if you attended 1 meeting, are you eligible to put your name in the hat?
Yeah.
Okay, that's exactly the way it was prior to 1920, because women could run for office, they just couldn't vote.
Interesting.
Yeah, they used to send out, they go to the campaign meetings and stuff like that. And they would go to the women who were standing around there and say, "Can you get your husband to vote for me, please?"
That's great. I hadn't thought that through. Wasn't aware of that. Geez, that is interesting. And by the way, I just made that pronouncement that yes, that's the way it is, just from my memory of the way the bylaws read. But I think that's correct. So
we have bylaws.
Yeah.
Oh,
alrighty.
You can read.
That's been a bone of contention since 3rd grade. I'm still going to argue.
Well, I know you can't spell.
That's right. All righty. Let's see. Other questions about that or the announcements? Other just general computer questions. You can ask any sort of question. It's going to have a lot better chance of being answered if it has something to do with computers, Linux.
Yeah, this is Phil.
Hey, Phil.
Hi.
I was going to make a comment earlier. Jay Truesdale was talking about testing out Ethernet cards or whatever. And he's wanting to know what to use. There's a program called iPerf that will do like a speed test, so to speak, between a couple. You have to use 2 computers. One of them is your server, if you want to call it that, and then the other one would be the client.
Okay.
But they have a newer version called iPerf 3. So, I think either one works, but, I don't think they're compatible with each other. But anyway, I just figured I would pass that on to him if he wanted to find something that might be relatively simple and straightforward to do that with.
Yeah, I'll take a look at that. Thanks.
Okay, Jay, not a problem.
Okay, this is Stan. I have a question, Gary Meyer.
Yes, sir.
Are you just in as Gary? Because there's somebody in as Gary D. Is Gary D you, or is it somebody else?
No, I suspect that's probably Gary Derekito. And you're right. I haven't changed my name as I should to put my last name in there. So as I get around to doing that, it'll be also a hint to Gary Derekito. You might want to go into the edit function and add your last name on your login.
Duly noted, Gary Meyer. Thank you. I'll do that.
All righty.
Actually, I'm going to go and rename Gary Meyer. So
thank you, sir. Because as Stan just pointed out, I can't spell. So
yeah.
Any computer questions? Boy, this is a tough crowd, I tell you.
Oh gosh.
Well,
I would like to point out that the balloting will be by secret ballot. And if you want to vote, you have to you're going to have to print the ballot and put it in an envelope and put a stamp on it and mail it to our post office box. Because I'm not going to mess around and do anything online because it's not, I don't know enough to make it secure.
Okay.
Besides, you know, I like to support our local post office anyway.
Right.
When you do mail it in, don't forget to put your initials and a date or some hint as to your name on the back of the envelope, so that if you happen to send in an update, then we'll know which one to keep.
Because the post office doesn't generally date stamp their envelopes anymore, unless you.
For those of you who are going, huh, what? It's like, unlike the recent election of November, as Stan likes to say, we've always gone by the motto, vote early and vote often, meaning that you can actually change your vote. And basically the people who count the votes only accept the most recently turned in ballot by any particular person. So that's why putting your name or initials on the outside of the envelope and a date, we know, okay, this is the most recent ballot he turned in. So I don't know when the last time we had somebody who changed and voted one way and then decided to change his mind, but
I do remember that happening a couple of years ago. Somebody did.
Probably me. You know me, I'm fickle. I
just
can't make up my mind.
I think it was just to test the system.
Let's see. I guess if there are other questions, they'll come up at the end. As I got a quick question for Tony, our speaker. Tony, you want people to be asking questions as you're speaking and just stop you and ask the question real time, or you want them
Sure,
to?
I guess it doesn't really matter, I guess, you know.
Okay. So
there is just one thing. My wife comes home and she then goes out for her night shift. So I usually just take care of a couple things. It's around 7:30.
Oh, okay. So
we should be primarily done by then, or we can take a little break, maybe. I don't know, something like that.
Okay. Okay.
Anyway, taking a break, that's good.
Okay. All righty. So we'll figure on there's probably going to be a break at 7:30.
Yeah, 7:25, whatever.
Yeah. Okay.
I'll let you know. I can hear the garage door opening.
All righty. Okay, by way of quick, two other things. Down at the bottom of your screen, there's a chat button, or at least I presume that's on the bottom of everyone's screen. Basically, if you hit the chat button, it'll bring up a little chat window. You can either make a posting to everyone in the group, which means you could actually comment on what Tony's talking about. You can also set it to do a private message to a particular person in the group. So that way you can have a little side conversation about stuff if you like. And with that, unless somebody's got some question about how Zoom works, I'll introduce our speaker, Tony Zafiropoulos. Tony's been a long-time member of our group. Tony is the principal and owner of, is the company name Fix Virus or Fix My Virus?
It's Fix Virus.
Fix Virus, and there's a website, fixvirus.com. Tony's been at this business for, dang, it's been a dozen years, Tony?
Unfortunately, it's been longer than that. So since the 90s, the mid 90s.
Wow. Okay. Okay. So Tony has some experience, and he's
I've done a few different things back then, but anyway.
So, Tony's a longtime supporter of our group. He's been very involved over the years as a speaker and also helped to run it for a while. So with that, I'm going to turn it over to Tony.
Oh, okay. So should I take over the screen, or?
You certainly can.
Let me see here. I have two screens, so I'm going to give it to screen one.
Okay.
I'll try not to put any incriminating information. So basically, let's go to, I gave you guys a quick overview, I guess, when I emailed, this is the email or the thing in the STLLUG. So just to go over it, OpenVAS used to be a open source.
Hey, Tony, we don't see a share.
Oh. That's interesting. I got it shared.
Do you have the bar on your screen that shows the screen what share is share?
Alt S should start it.
Oh, it's got no event sharing. Well, it does not, but there is a weird border around it.
Big green button at the bottom of your screen, share screen.
Yeah, I did that.
Okay, and is there a little?
And then I pressed screen 1.
There's a little up pointing arrow right next to the share screen.
Yeah.
Okay.
That just says one participant share at a time. Multiple participants can share simultaneously.
It's not working for some reason. What a pain.
Well, that's interesting. Well, let me see if I can just share one thing at a time. Maybe the screen is not working for whatever reason. Let's see what.
If you have two screens, usually if you share the whole screen, then you can put anything over there to show it.
I know, that's what I was trying to do.
Huh.
It didn't work. Can you see that? Oh, you know what? I have to click this maybe.
There you go.
Okay, that's it.
Yeah.
There was yet another button you had to click after you clicked share 1.
Button, who's got the button?
Right, so anyway. Okay, so this is basically what I sent you guys.
Hey, Tony, can you boost the font size by quite a bit? It's awfully small.
I can see it just fine. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. The man with the 42-inch monitor on his desk does.
Well, anyway.
If anybody has a problem like that, if you're looking at the share screen at the top right there's a view options button, and you got zoom on there, you can increase the zoom more than what Tony does.
Yeah, this is a little too big, though. I mean,
looks good to me. You read it from 4 feet away.
Right. All right. Well, this is probably good. Is that okay?
Yeah.
24.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So I don't know if you guys, has anyone here worked with OpenVAS?
Crickets.
Okay, so I don't know if you've worked with Nessus or other scanners. I believe OpenVAS was Nessus at one time, back when Nessus was open source. That was a while ago, before, well, in the early 2000s, I believe. And then like the mid to 2010s, Nessus became closed source. So OpenVAS became the open source version, and then it also morphed into this company picked it up eventually. Initially, it was also open source for a while, and it just got built into the various Kali Linux, the backtrack, the different versions of hacking Linux devices, distros. So today, though, if we can catch up to today, OpenVAS is part of Greenbone as security assistant. It's part of Greenbone is the company. Security assistant is the specific piece of the software. So, okay. So it's a scanner. So it will test your machine to see if it has all the latest patches on it. the reason I like OpenVAS versus Nessus, I've used Nessus at Pfizer. Oh, wow, it's been a while now, 7, 8 years. But anyway, so at Pfizer, we used Nessus because it's Pfizer. You know, it's a big company. They want to use. They don't like to use open source, except they do use Linux, but not for this kind of thing. So Nessus is good if you have credentials. So the thing is, the way I look at it is, the hacker is not going to have credentials, or at least not at the beginning. Maybe he will later. But you know, if he has credentials, you're kind of in trouble anyway. So I want to test the machines without credentials and to see how they look. So although Nessus kind of sort of works with that, their OpenVAS is very good without credentials. It's good enough for me, and it does a very good job of testing machines. So, okay, let's go to today's. So a few years ago, it was at Greenbone, it was still called OpenVAS at that point. So, you know, all these companies, they don't want to keep the their software. How's that? That's 20. They don't want to keep the software like named the way it was, I guess. Eventually they switched it and they called OpenVAS Greenbone Virtual Manager, I believe, GVM, or whatever GVM is. It's just, well, we'll go into the command line soon. So so in the past, you would do OpenVAS commands. Let me show you some of the commands I would create in the past here. So, okay. So we're going to go over a lot of different things, but essentially at one point, my production machine at my client was still on OpenVAS, and it was at what they considered version 9 or 7. I don't remember exactly. So they upgraded to version 11. That's why I have the new version 11 here. It has a new structure. And plus, Kali Linux built, you know, it's within Debian, so it's got this actually should be system D. Anyway, these are like my reminders to do things. So these are the different services that it used to have. No, you know, in 11 it switched to these. They were different back then. So today they have upgraded even more, and I had to basically at one point last year, third quarter of last year, the scanner said this scanner is obsolete, so you have to update the machine. You can't keep running on this old scanner. You're going to be obsolete. I mean, you can create an exception and still continue to run, but you know, you don't want to be running on obsolete code. Eventually you have to upgrade. So I decided to just start fresh. So we did that this year. Well, not this year, I guess like in 2020. So maybe I'm talking about the Q3 of 19, whatever. So in Q3 19, the machine got obsolete. So last year, in the mid-year last year, we created a new virtual machine with 2020.3. So 2020.4 happens to be my test machine, my laptop. So I know I actually gave you a couple of different numbers, Gary. And I think that they were actually the wrong numbers. So my test machine is on 2020.4 right now. And 2020.4 has GBM 20.0, 20.8.
Yeah, on the note you sent out, it was 2023 was the test. So okay.
Right, which is not right, actually. I double checked it.
Okay.
So this is the test, and the production system prod is 2020.3. And this has GBM, the earlier version. It's not in the 20s. I think it's in the 11 or 12. I'd have to double check it. I think it's 11. So anyway. So this is the test machine. So the good thing is, I was thinking I would have to update the system. I tried doing it on the old virtual machine, and I was having all kinds of problems. So that's why I just went to the new Linux, especially since I found out that the new Linux machine has GBM built in. So you don't have to do anything really. So I was hoping everything would work.
Can I just ask for a clarification on that? By that, you mean
Sure.
the new release of Kali Linux has GBM?
Yes, okay, this is what I was doing with my client.
Okay.
The prod machine.
Okay.
This worked out of the box, so to say. No, I just had to do one configuration. That's because it's headless. Because the machine doesn't have a monitor. I have to connect to it using SSH anyway. So you can't really use it the way they think you might want to use it.
Gotcha.
So the Linux test, which I didn't mean to do this, but because I knew 20.8 would have some problems, and actually it does. So 20.8 does not work right out of the box. But if you want to use the latest version of OpenVAS, which is GVM, and then it works, just go to 2020.3, install that, and then configure it, and you should be good. Okay, that's it. Thank you. Have a good day. No.
Let me just ask a question about all these release numbers. So the early notes we sent out on this talked about it being version 11. So
yes.
How do the numbers 2020.3, 20?
Okay, so I'm sorry. So this is Kali, the Kali distribution.
Okay.
The 2020.3 is a specific Kali distribution.
Okay.
The GVM version is the OpenVAS software. Okay.
All right.
Anyway, so so on my laptop, I, of course, I'm like, hey, let's put in the latest stuff. So I did that, and of course it didn't work right away.
Okay, now on that second line, you've got GGM 20.8 instead of GVM
yes.
11.
Because they are constantly pushing the envelope. And we're going to go over, that's basically what we're going to go over today. Okay. Some of the differences between 11 and 20, even though I didn't mean to do that in the beginning.
Okay.
Which is why it probably looks a little combobulated. But that's not because of my fault. Well, it is a little. I didn't learn some of these things until this week. But apparently GBM, the Greenbone people, this here is the test machine. I can't show you my prod. I apologize. So I ran a couple of tests today. So I have a new LG TV. So I'm trying to see if it has anything with. It's not actually saying it. There aren't any problems, I guess. So, okay, initially, when I first installed this, there was problems with the scan configuration. So the scan configs, they were 0. So there was nothing in here. And then also the report configurations, report formats, well, this is still 0. So I apologize. I can't show you a full-fledged OpenVAS, which does have reports. It tells you what's going on with the machines. We can't see that right now because there's something that is still funky with this 20.8. I did fix the actual scan configs today. So let me find out. Let me bring this over. So, okay, this is their latest information. If you guys are really interested in messing with this on your own, I would do some kind of a search, report format missing GBM 20.8, something like that, and then you'll find this page. There is a lot of information here that I haven't digested in one day. I was able to figure out that apparently what they're doing now, which is why it's not working, if you upgrade from 11 to 20, a lot of functionality will be gone. Because from now on, they're going to update the formats, the scan configs, and the reports and everything using the feeds. So this here, is that big enough?
Yeah.
So this is going to be the new way that they're going to put new formats, new scan configs. So I don't know if since this is a open source, you're not paying them anything, that stuff doesn't always work. So I had my doubt that I would get anything done today, but I was able to get the scan config done. So it did actually scan the machines, which is good, which is more than what I was expecting. But it's not, we can't see the reports. All we can see is that, well, see, this is the problem. Failed to find it. Yes, we know there's a problem. We need to update this. So so one thing that I've had with running this on my, over the years, because I've been running this OpenVAS, I guess, for 4 or 5 years now, it actually wasn't doing very well with multiple scans. So you had to, and there was all kinds of weird errors in the logs. They're doing a lot better with that. And I think this is so GVM, the open source version, is the test bed for Greenbone. So they're trying a bunch of new things. Unfortunately, you're like the test person for them. And they actually sell products that you can buy that will do this scanning, and they'll support it for you. So that's the whole point for this process here. So anyway, so typically what I used to do is, sometimes it doesn't work right. So you just try it again, and then it does sometimes works. It's kind of funky. Like this, you know, you're not supposed to have this. It should normally the production machine doesn't have any of this stuff. It's kind of so they've removed a lot of these formats. I did want to show you this. This is kind of neat. So these are the signatures that they check. So they're checking 63,000 different signatures to see if your machine, you know, is equivalent to the signature, and then you've got a severity 10.
By the way, NVT.
Yes, yes. I was afraid you're going to say that, but I'd have to search for it. So off the top of my head, I don't know.
Okay.
I also decided to download Brave. Have you guys played with Brave yet? So this is my my Windows machine, unfortunately. But I have to support customers, so I have everything.
By the way, NVT is network vulnerability test.
All right. Okay. Very good. Did everybody hear that?
All right, repeat it.
Network vulnerability test.
Very good.
Okay. So it's a vulnerability test. So there's 63,000 vulnerability tests in OpenVAS, which they have accumulated. And this does take a little while to download, but I guess it was able to do that on my laptop.
Tony, I'm familiar with the CVEs.
Yes.
But not NVT. Is NVT something
NVT is specific to OpenVAS.
All right, that makes sense.
So when you update, you have to do NVT comes in the first one. This one is the second, and that's the third. So this here is the CVE.
Right.
And there's 156,000 CVEs that it has on the machine. So it's pretty comprehensive. And now, you know, it's got a couple of these that are fairly new, January 19th of this year. But I mean, if you're like an enterprise customer and you want to have the absolute latest stuff, you know, hourly, it's got to be up to date. Then you're going to have to buy their feed and you buy their stuff. That's what that's what their big thing is. So I'm okay with it being a couple weeks old. I mean, look at this. It's the 21st and we got the 19th here. So, and you know how this goes. A lot of these CVEs are not going to be relevant anyway for your environment. It's almost better to be like a week or two old. It's fine. They work out some of the kinks. So I'm just going through a bunch of different things here.
When you say kinks, you mean like false positives and things like that?
All kinds of stuff that I mean, this is pretty normal stuff. It's not, and they tell you there's going to be false positives. So, and this is the CPE. It's the last, what's the CPE? Trying to find a web page that explains it all.
Oh.
Of course not right up first. That's funny. Yeah, well, here, history of OpenVAS, 2005. developers of the vulnerability scanner Nessus decided to discontinue the work under open license and then switch to proprietary business model. So I was pretty close. I mean, didn't have the date quite right. And Greenbone is out of Germany. If you notice this green, like that's kind of like a German, like quirkiness, I guess. You know, I follow the German soccer teams. If you notice, I have a flag of the German by Leverkusen up on my wall here. Anyway, so I mean, what you do is you go to scans tasks. If you want to do a scan, you create a new task, you name it, you put in the target. You have to create a new target, and you have to put the IP address in here. I wonder if it'll scan itself. Probably. So you see, it's, oh wait, they have to be careful. You gotta, that can't have that weird number in there. So, and then this will be the task, which I will call self. Click save. And hopefully that will actually work. And then you just click this button and it will run the scan. And, you know, I mean, some machines, it will take 10, 15, 20 minutes at the production. Some Windows servers take longer than, you know, like if you're scanning a firewall that is basically buttoned up, it might have one port open. It won't take very long to scan it, a couple minutes. But if you're scanning a Windows server, which has all these ports open, which require a bunch of tests to be run, that will take 15, 20 minutes minimum. And now we're scanning the Linux machine itself, basically. So this, I was playing around with different things. So this app actually is my Wi-Fi IP address. So we're scanning the Ethernet IP address. Just for fun, just for the fun of it. Let's see what happens. I mean, I just installed this Kali Linux 2020.4. I don't know, I didn't really do anything to it. I opened up the SSH port. So this, and there's a couple other things I wanted to show you. Where was it? Yeah, okay, so when I was having some problems with the reports and the scan config, it told me that I needed to, well, it said that the report formats, port lists, policies, and scan configs are now all loaded from the feed. And so the object data can be synced. And so you have to do this sync command, and then it will download everything. But it hasn't completely worked. So I think there's some problem with the reports, which is a little bit more complicated, I think. I haven't gone through it yet.
And can you remind us what the feed is?
There's what?
Can you remind us what the feed is?
Okay, the feed is the Greenbone updates these NBTs, the CVEs, and the CPEs.
They collections like libraries of.
Well, so every time a vulnerability gets created by somebody, a new vulnerability test has to be created, an NVT. A new CVE is created by the CVE people that do that. A new CPE is created, and you have to download it to your machine because you need the new definitions. They're basically, if you're doing antivirus, it's like definition files.
Oh, okay.
Okay,
If-
that's the best explanation. So now you're using the new definition files. That's what I was showing you earlier. One of the definition files, I just updated it today, and it's 2 days old. And this is all free. You know, it's open source, free. I didn't pay for anything. It's for my laptop. Eventually, I could, once I finish and fix everything, I could take this laptop on site and do testing with it. So let's see if, so here we go. You see, I just did a scan on the laptop. It's almost done. This is what happens typically. It like almost finishes for like several minutes.
Where are you seeing progress?
Right here, the green bar. You see that, my cursor?
Looks like 98%.
Yeah, 98. So if you click on the report number, that's if you do multiple tests, you'll see that. But we may be kind of out of SOL until that report stuff is fixed.
Yeah. The background tools are with a Python and what kind of database are they? You know?
Oh. What do you mean as far as their
I mean, what they using in their background? Are they using Postgres SQL or?
Yeah, they're using Postgres SQL, I believe.
I think I saw something that kind of looked like they were using those name formats.
So this again is the CVE definition file that was just downloaded this morning. UTC. I was just playing with it today. Oh,
it looks like it's those different CVEs some are testing Python errors and some of them are testing.
Yes, so those are different.
Yes.
Right. Exactly.
Right. I may have been mistaken because I thought I saw something said Python. It may be that it was a CVE.
It's testing a Python. It's not. It is Python.
Right.
So, okay. Oh, here we go. In 2019, the branding separation was completed. So they did introduce GBM 11, and then now apparently they moved pretty quickly from 2019 to 2020, and now 2021. They want everybody to move to 20.8. I didn't realize this, so I'm kind of happy I did this because I will need to figure this out before pretty soon it'll say you can't use the old 11. You know how they do that. So at least I'll be up to date with what they are doing. So okay, can we take a 5-minute break?
Sure.
I will be right back.
All righty. And in the meantime, by way of announcements that I forgot to do earlier, for those of you who were here in a previous month, Scott Graneman did that presentation on browsers, and one of the ones that he really liked was Vivaldi, and he said a lot of nice things about it. He put a note in Discuss, I believe it was yesterday, where he actually put in his notes describing Vivaldi, the notes that he was using that night. And he did say that during the meeting, he actually didn't get through all the notes. So this written version is actually more extensive than he had actually said that night. So if any of you are interested in Vivaldi, look and Discuss, and you can find his notes.
I believe Tony had asked if anybody was using Brave, and I have a couple of people have contacted at the Slack meeting, and I believe even the last SNULUG meeting, have been trying out using the Brave browser. But I've heard a lot of people really liking the Vivaldi, or whatever it's called.
Yeah, I was playing with Brave a bit. I've been using it as an option for Chromium. It's seems to be a little more compatible with Chromium, but it's not anywhere. It's not in the same league as Firefox, assuming that you want to see exactly what's going on.
And what's that? Let's see.
Which part, Dan?
I didn't hear the first part you said. You're talking about the add-ons?
Oh, no, I was saying that Brave seems to be a better replacement than Chromium for Chrome.
Right.
Because it's a little more compatible, it seems to be, but it doesn't hold a candle to Firefox if you're used to it. Between NoScript and AdBlock and uBlock Origin, I can make Firefox as secure as I want. Whereas you don't have that level of control in any Chrome-based product.
Right.
Now,
Yes, I also use the uBlock Origin, and that is very powerful.
Yeah. I just love AdBlock. You know, if you get one of these big cookie pop-ups, just right-click on it and say delete, and you'll never see it again. That's one of the short-list things I love about Firefox. You have full control over what you see.
I've been using Brave since Scott's talk, and I've had no problems. It seems to run faster than Chromium or Chrome, and it seems to be less of a memory hog. And wonder of wonders, I have seen it give memory back to the operating system. Ooh. Start closing off windows and things, and it'll actually give some memory back. I've never seen that before.
Wow, what a feature.
Yeah, pretty bizarre. But it's based on Chromium, I guess. You know, their open source version of it, whatever.
What's based on Chromium, Steve?
Brave is based on Chromium.
Oh yeah, it's based on the open source Chrome, right?
Right, exactly.
But that's what I'm saying. The Chrome architecture doesn't have the hooks you need for things like NoScript and AdBlock.
No, I used to run Chrome with NoScript, and it works, but it was so irritating always to have to go and allow the JavaScript, because every website just about in the world runs JavaScript now. At least that's the way it appears to me.
Yeah, but at least you can block all the ones that are malicious, like Google Tag Manager and Google Syndication and Amazon Ad System, and know you're blocking them.
I'm pretty sure Brave blocks that stuff, but I'll be honest with you, I have not really pursued it.
But that's the point. You can't. You're depending on some black magic in Brave to do it. You don't know what's going on for sure. But it still appears to be a better alternative than Chromium. But if you want control, you have to stay with Firefox.
Yeah, probably. But there's a lot of websites that Firefox doesn't work on anymore.
I run into maybe one a month.
Yeah. And usually it takes me about 15 minutes to figure out that it didn't work.
Well, maybe you ought to stop taking a nap.
Right.
Hey, after 6 hours and 23 phone calls with the goddamn bank this morning.
Yeah.
Bank and a tow company. Jesus, what a cluster.
Movies and TV.
I'm sorry?
Tony, you back? Yeah, he must be back. It's his machine running.
Somebody's wiggling it.
Hey, Tony.
I'm back. Sorry.
You ready?
Yeah, I'm back. I'm good.
All right. Bump that font a couple times.
This one?
Yeah, in the show window. Sorry, you're on putty. It's not easy.
Right. Because well, I may have to log in with putty.
No, hit the icon top left in the window.
Change settings should let you do it there too.
Yeah, change settings.
Oh, okay. Right. I've done it before, but I don't remember, of course.
Except what happened? Did you get it?
That would be too easy. Window, behavior, appearance. That's it. There it is. Change font. Let's try 16. Apply. How's that?
Oh, that's great. Love it.
Okay. Oh, what happened here? Oh. Okay, I think I must have right-clicked or something. I already did all that. Anyway. Okay, so here you see I did a cert data sync. And it did download one file. And if you look up above, there's a SCAP data. Sometimes you do an NVT sync and nothing happens, but sometimes it downloads stuff and sometimes it doesn't. So it's better to actually see what's going on, just like this one, see? Well, and then you have to do sudo. Here's the download. Here's a good download. That's what happened earlier today. I wanted to show you, shoot. Well, anyway. Yeah, I was trying to figure out the problems. That's all right. We'll just keep moving. All right, so this is Kali Linux 2020.4. It's the more or less the latest version. It just came out I don't know, November, October. It just recently came out. So and it was good. It does have GVM built in, but apparently it's not configured properly. But I think I need to read all the documentation. Some of the developers keep referring to that in there as a snide comment. You have to read the documents, you know, kind of read the manual. You know how that goes. Anyway, but I did get to do a few things. So I don't know if you guys play around with the live system D. So okay, to make let's do that. That's my test machine, so it doesn't really matter. So I had to figure this out a long time ago for the headless machine. So you have to put this in. This is not in by default. So in this file, in the directory live system D system, the file called greenbone-security-assistant.service. You have to change the IP address. I believe it shows 127.0.0.1 in here. The port is 9392. So this is my Wi-Fi IP address. I should actually put the Ethernet one in, but anyway, I didn't want to change it. I was having, it was a little bit slow, and then I put the IP addresses in the etc. hosts, and everything sped up a little bit. So do you guys get everything there? Did I go too fast? So this directory, in this directory, there's a file called Greenbone Security Assistant. That has to be updated for you to go and connect to it like I am doing, as otherwise you have to do it on that machine. On this file, you know, you have to use the laptop. Otherwise you can't do this. You can't look at it like this from here, from this machine. I think this machine is 65, so the laptop is 67 and 100. So, and then it has these dashboards. These dashboards haven't really been very useful for me. They're, especially when there's hundreds of machines in here, they don't really, you know, it's more, to me, it's more important to see what the specific machine has. This is the most useful page for me. This one right here. It does this sometimes. And you can see that, you know, like I might scan the machine several times in a quarter, and it'll tell me that the second time you scanned, you actually had a vulnerability, a higher vulnerability than you did before. So that is useful to me. So, okay, I guess the Kali Linux machine doesn't have any problems. All it has is SSH port open. That's probably why.
And your desktop is a Windows machine, right?
Yes, yes. And typically most Windows machines will have several 5.0's vulnerabilities. And that's just like, you know, the standard Microsoft. You know, we can't see this one because of the problems, but they're usually some kind of escalation privilege vulnerability. And technically, you are not PCI compliant if you have a 4.0 or higher. But, you know, I mean, they won't be able to attack and take over the machine with just a 4.0. They'll be able to get more privileges, but they have to attack and take over the machine with something else.
Got time for a sidebar question?
Yes.
You mentioned SSH being open. For 25 years, I just moved it to a different port, like 2022 or something like that. But I've seen script kiddies out there finding that port and password guessing. So I moved it up to like ephemeral ports, the 65,000 something.
Oh, yeah.
Do you think, have you seen any of the SSH vulnerability scanners? You know, in other words, what range of port are they actually looking for? Any idea?
That depends on who's doing the scanning. So you are basically denying the script kiddies and the basic people, because let's face it, when you're doing a general scan, you don't want to do the scan for 2 days each machine. Or, you know, I mean, I'm over dramatizing it, but you don't want to take hours and hours, because it will take a while, especially if it has to scan all 65,000 ports. I mean, it'll figure it out eventually if you tell it to do that. But now you've just increased the scan time.
You're speaking from the system cracker viewpoint.
Right. Exactly.
He wants to get in, or most of them want to go in and get the low hanging fruit, and unless they're targeting somebody, they're not gonna do a real long scan on anybody's system, I would imagine.
Yeah, and the reality is it's easier to hack people with phishing. If they're targeting you, the way they're gonna get in is you're gonna let them in.
Yeah.
Somebody
social engineering or phishing or whaler.
When from what I've read, when somebody takes and says, I want you to hack me, here's $20,000, do whatever you need to do. That's how they get in. They trick the employees, and that's how they get in, because that's what the real hackers do. Now, that's kind of very intrusive, but, it depends on what you're defending, but it will cost you $20,000. That's what it costs to get a proper pen test. So I don't do that. I'm with you, Stan. I'm basically like covering 90% of the attacks. All the script kiddies, all the people who want to get the low-hanging fruit. I'm making sure we're not the low-hanging fruit. And, knock on wood, it's worked out so far. And I still have a job, so. Hey, I am under no illusion. If tomorrow something else happens, hey, stuff happens, It's a fleeting business. I've heard it before. So it's tough, your IT department is always busy. They're always having to update, 300 machines. That's not easy. Or whatever it is. I mean, at Pfizer, it was a impossible task, because Pfizer has 200,000 machines. They know it's impossible, and they know they're a target. So that's a completely different situation. But you're basically just trying to plug as many holes as possible there. That's all you can do, and you buy the best equipment you can to deny the attacking space from the attackers, but realistically, you're not gonna deny everybody. And and Pfizer unfortunately has all these problems, like so-and-so lab in this German lab that doesn't like to update their machines has a Windows 2000 machine because they have some old software that's running on it. And they say that you can't update it. So, Windows 2000 is obviously hackable. And that's the kind of problem you have in all these big companies. Fortunately, I don't have that problem.
I remember a number of years ago, the state of Missouri did a survey of all the software that was being used by the state. And it was unreal. I think across the state, somebody had a copy of something that they said they couldn't live without.
Right. Yeah.
And it was like 300 pages of this stuff, and it just
exactly.
It was unreal.
So there is a unfortunately the criminal hacker has a target-rich environment. I've heard them explain it. Imagine you're phishing, okay? Actual phishing, not yes. Computer phishing. But the way you fish is you have a barrel of fish and it's full with fish. So all you got to do is put your hands in and take a fish out. That's how hard it is for them to attack us. I love that analogy. It's a barrel of fish, and that's how they fish. It's very funny. But it's true because so many people are just not updating. They just don't want to. They can't figure it out. Who knows?
Yeah. Well, I heard recently one guy said, or somewhere, I think it was on Security Now, they talked about the one company, and the pen testers came in and they said by just doing routine updates, system updates, they eliminated 90% of the problems,
Yeah.
more than 90% of the problems that they found. Because they just weren't across the board. They were just not doing the updates. And essentially, in the way I look at it in the Linux world, the kernel updates, that's the equivalent of updating a virus package, because they're patching this stuff constantly in the kernels. If you're not doing your kernel updates, it's bad news.
So I'm just showing you some top here.
One.
I'm not running a scan. Let's run a scan. You can see
why people don't want to update their software is, have you ever had a problem where your machine was working until you updated it?
Oh yeah.
At Boeing, it was standard policy to never load anything that was integer.0. We just refused to load it.
No, yeah,
not going to happen. You know, wait for a couple of bug fixes to come out, because if you load integer.0, you're screwed.
Yeah, see,
Windows was worse. I have to say that I've been using Linux now for a number of years, and the updating process, I really have never had a problem. But I'm not a target. I have nothing anybody would want.
That's not true.
Well,
everyone is a target. I'm writing a book. I wrote a book, and I'm trying to publish it in next month or two. Literally everyone is a target. Why? Because they want your CPU cycles. Yes, you may not have information on your machine, but they're more than willing to use your machine to attack other people.
Yeah.
So everyone is a target. Don't be thinking that.
The other problem is, I had some personal experience. Not a good idea to click on emails. Anything at all seems just a teensy bit strange about it.
Tony, I see you running Nmap in there. What are you doing?
Oh, I wanted to show you. No, the OpenVAS runs it.
Oh, okay.
OpenVAS runs Nmap. I like to do this periodically to see what OpenVAS is doing. If you notice, ospd.openvas that's one of the processes. Redis server is also a process.
And there was an NVMD up there too.
Right, there's that one. There's GVMD. So, and this is the one I'm testing the Windows machine, I believe. So there's GSAD as well. Right, so it used to, I would run 2 or 3 scans and the machine would crap out. I mean, even and we're talking a virtual machine, which is pretty beefy, I guess. You know, the IT department would not give me like as little as my laptop, you know. So I wonder what would happen if I run 2 or 3 of these. Let's see here. They have gotten better. Let's run all 3 of them. Let's see what happens. I mean, what's the worst that can happen, right? It'll crash. Unfortunately, I can't show you the actual reports, which is the whole point of this. But I mean, we can, once I figure out what happened, I can let you guys know. And because I do want it to work eventually. Like I mentioned to Gary, I have to get this to work just in case I need to go on site somewhere, which in theory I should. Of course, nobody wants you to go on site these days, but even so, I have to be ready.
We can't see the reports because the resulting report is not available. It's not a question of the report is proprietary, privileged to Pfizer.
The report didn't get downloaded properly for some reason on the new 20.8. I have the reports in 11. And what they were saying is the reports in 11, if you upgrade to 20.8, you'll lose some reports because in the future, all the reports will come in using the feeds. So, well, of course, what could be happening is, I know I did do updates today several times because I was afraid of this. Because I was hoping that it would download all the updates, but it missed the reports for whatever reason. So there might be some other configuration that I need to enter. So whatever I find out, I will email the list or I'll email Gary and I'll let you guys know how to fix it, so to say. If you download 20.3 Linux, Kali Linux, it'll run out of the box with GVM 11. But in the next few months or years, or in this year, Greenbone is going to ixnay that whole version as well. So 20.8 is the new methodology. Anyway, if you notice, it running more processes. This would like kill the machine in the past. And I'm running this on a crappy laptop, which I don't know if I even paid a couple $100 for it.
Can you do a T, run a tree display onto that? Is that H top you run in there or top?
Just top.
Okay.
You want me to?
Never mind.
What do you want me to do?
Well, I don't remember. Will the letter T, will that give you a tree display under top or not? I guess not. It's on the H top, gives you a tree display.
Oh. Does it have H top?
Don't know.
No H top.
Oh yeah. Yeah, H top will sort things into a tree based on who owns what process.
Right. I don't think it's got H top. This is
gives you a better way of gives you a better way of
right
understanding the flow of what's going on.
Yeah, that I mean I could install it eventually, but not yet.
Yeah.
H-top will install in under a minute. I mean, there's not much code there since it has no GUI.
Okay. Install it, yes.
At least on a Debian it will.
Yeah, well, this is Debian.
Or a SUSE.
Am I remembering this right?
Yeah, unless you need to do sudo.
Correct. Yeah, you need a sudo in front of that. Yeah. And now you need a password.
May as well do it. It's not a bad idea. I'm trying to. This is my test machine, so I need to do different things with it.
And I type H-top. Let's see what happens.
All right, there we go.
There you are. Now, if you hit
Well, letter
F5,
T.
it'll convert that to a tree version. There you go.
Okay. Very good.
Yeah, that's really handy when you're trying to, especially if you're trying to kill stuff.
Yeah.
Because you find what you want to kill, and then you start going up until you get to the ultimate parent. Hopefully you don't kill the kernel, but you know.
Right. Well, this would be handy to put into my production machine because sometimes I need to kill stuff over there.
Yeah, it's real handy for that. If you pick a process and hit F9, it will then let you send, you know, all of the standard Linux signals.
Oh, okay. Yeah, cool.
It's real handy. Guys, pick something and hit F9, but just don't, you know, stop before you send the signal.
Right. Well, I could kill the desktop, something on the desktop.
Yeah, that's fine.
I don't think it works. Does it work? It doesn't work with the.
Start Vim. That's a nice safe thing to play with.
Oh yeah, you know what? I can also start something on the desktop.
Then you hit F3 to search for, you know, whatever it is you're looking for.
Oh, maybe that's safe now. Okay, so I got Vim started.
Okay, now hit F3 on your keyboard, and that should give you, there you go, and then just type Vim. I am. You type Vum.
Hey.
Okay, there you go. Now hit F9.
This is too hard. Oh, and it tells you what kind.
Yeah, just hit F9. And then there, okay, then you go pick whatever signal you want to send to it.
To cancel.
Oh.
And always F9 is the clincher.
The kill, yeah.
Nine.
Kill dash 9.
Right.
Yeah. I didn't realize there were that many signals out there, you know.
Oh yeah, there is a few.
You just don't think about it.
So it should be, yeah, it's down, of course. That's very good. That was, well, that was neat, but that had nothing to do with OpenVAS.
Right.
Nope.
Right.
It's just a tool. That's all.
Yeah, it's cool. No, it's useful.
Tony, do you use some alternative for trying to run down the false positive, something like that? What do they call it? LYNIS, Linus, the same kind of thing, all open source and command line only.
Oh, well, I will use whatever. It sort of depends on what is the false positive.
Right.
Because, you know, it could be a lot of different things here.
Right.
What's going on over here? I'm trying to F10 it. Oh, I'm doing 12. Yeah, 12 is not going to work. Okay. Very good. I mean, what else do you guys have as far as questions and stuff? I mean, that's pretty much what I've got. Let's go back to the scan.
Back and summarize then what this, well, first off, you said this is the page you really, really like. You know, right there where you were with the 3 charts.
Yes, this one.
So what are we looking at? Tell us how to interpret this page.
So, okay. these are the 3 scans that I created, you know, up here. Well, let's call them the tasks. These are the 3 tasks. So let's edit one of them. So that's my desktop. It's got the IP address of the desktop. It has the default OpenVAS scanner configuration and the scan config full and fast. So when Lee was talking about, I changed my SSH port into the 60,000 range, I would have to change this config to make it the full and complete or something. This is what has changed. So now, interestingly, if you notice, they're all grayed out. The way OpenVAS does it is, if you've used this scan, this task, I interchange the two. If you have scanned with this task, it will not let you edit the task. So if I want to change the task, I would have to delete it and then just create a new one, which I do periodically. So this is great because as you do more and more scans, more tasks, you run the tasks, which are basically your scans, because if you click here, for example, that's a start. Right now, these 2 scans are still running. So this one is 98% done. That's the laptop itself. And then this is the TV, which I have on. I'm just playing to see what the TV would do. Kind of like an IoT kind of thing, an Internet of Things. I'm always curious to see what, you know, I don't really like Alexa or those crazy voice command things.
Yeah.
I bought one and then I turned it off. I have it unplugged somewhere.
Yeah.
So I mean, I've heard, you know, I'm part of the ISACA, the auditors group, and basically, like, I don't know any of us in that group that have those things turned on. I'm like, none of us. We just don't trust in them.
Do you want Google listening to and sorting through every single thing that gets said in your house?
Yeah, we know what can possibly happen. Right, Google, Amazon, I don't care who it is. It's just stupid how they use these gullible people, unfortunately. And anyway,
that's a shame.
It is a shame.
And that's going to get so much worse.
It will get a lot worse.
I think we've lost our republic, to be very honest. But you
know, that's another subject.
Nobody seems to be paying any attention to what's legal or not legal anymore. So,
well, people are not aware of the tenuous place we're in with all this technology. It's so easy to do this stuff. It's going to get a lot worse with AI. But so let's say this is now at the end of the year, I might have 12 reports here. So in the future, you know, if once this works, it won't show this. It will show all the different reports and and so it'll show all these things. So it'll show like this scan, this task ran in January and it had 0.0 or NA rather. This one's ran in February and it's got 0.0, etc. So you can see how this page is where everything is happening basically. So if you notice, this is the kind of like the quirks of the Greenbone security assistant. As you see it cycling through these things, it was a lot worse. This system was a lot flakier. They've actually improved it quite a bit. And it's the free version, so you just have to be a little patient with it sometimes. And then you have to figure out if something is wrong. You have to be able to fix it, you know. Like I said, I'll let you guys know once I figure out what the problem is. So, and then this trend is like useful. So you can see the laptop, the same thing happened. It was 0, 0 both times. And then we got one more scan running. So I've had to stop scans and then restart them. So it does that as well. It's fine. So you can stop and then it would say restart here. If the task was stopped, it would allow me to click on this.
By the way, earlier in your presentation, I do remember the desktop test. The trend line on that, instead of just being that horizontal straight line, it actually was a jagged line.
Yes.
Pointed up. And
because the first one was 0. And that because the reason for that was because it didn't have enough scan configs. It wasn't set up to config to scan. So then when it was finally able to scan, it found the 5.0. So I've been working with this all day today and yesterday, but mostly today. I was happy that it was actually working, Gary, so I could show you something. It could have been a lot worse.
So in the 3 boxes at the top, the far left-hand side, task by severity class.
Right. So
medium and log.
So the log is this here. The result of the vulnerability is it's only a log vulnerability. So that means it's not really a vulnerability. That means that if we would be able to look at the report, you could see it, and I could show you. The report, of course, a lot of times the report doesn't show anything because it says it's just a log. It doesn't give us any information. So basically, all it means is there's just a log entry.
Okay.
There's no other information. It's just a log entry.
It's just like an informational entry. It's
right.
It's not up to a warning level or anything.
So in PCI compliance, anything below 4.0, we're not concerned about at all.
Okay.
At 4.0 and higher, technically you're supposed to fix it.
Okay.
And if you don't, you may be able to get away with it, but then you have to write up an exception report.
Okay.
For whatever reason, you might say, well, this machine we're going to scrap in 2 months. So I realize we have a 7.0 on it, but give us a couple months and we're going to get rid of it.
Okay.
Oh, that's my mother-in-law. I'll call her back. She's funny. Anyway.
Well, so, when you say, Tony, when you say 4.0, you mean on a scale of 1 to 10, right?
Yes, yes.
That's the CVS rating or
right,
CVE
right,
rating.
Exactly.
Okay.
So, yes, so the CVE. Here they are.
Yeah. Oh, nice pie chart. Nice.
Right. So these are the dangerous ones that you have to fix. Well, anything 9 or 10, you have to fix within 30 days. I mean, obviously anything red I would like to fix within 30 days, but a lot of times
you're already hacked by then. They own you.
Well, it depends on what it is. You know, sometimes it's not actually that dangerous. And sometimes these yellow ones or the orange ones, whatever, they're like DOS attacks. So even though there are 6.0 vulnerabilities, they're not dangerous to the point where it's going to take us down. It's just we're gonna be busy.
When you say DOS attacks, you mean mostly denial of service? Or?
Yes, denial of service. So it does depend on what vulnerability it is. Every vulnerability is different. You can't make a blanket statement like that, where anything 7 or higher is going to be bad. It's kind of interesting how that works. Generally, 9 or 10 or high is bad, and you got to fix those right away. From 4 to 8, it depends on what it is. Now, for whatever reason, OpenVAS has decided to make 7 and 8 red as well. They don't have to do that. Not everybody does that. So if you notice, 49,000 CVEs are red.
All right.
And then there's the low ones, the 13,000 low. It's a bunch of logs, 8,900 log ones. And then there's 83,000 of these medium ones.
Now, are those all the CVEs, or are those ones that they've got written patches for? Or
so, okay, this is not
remediations.
These are the CVEs that are included in OpenVAS.
Oh, okay.
There may be more CVEs than this.
Right.
But and you have to have an NVT to actually do a test. That's the vulnerability test.
Okay.
So every month that I make every quarter that I do the scans, I like to see how many CVEs, NVTs, and CPEs. I want to see that increase. I like to look to see if I got some new stuff to make sure that my machine is updating definition files. Let's go back to the scans. Yeah, this is the quirks of that weird report problem. Well, this is, I don't get this problem with the production machine. This may also be like a weirdness of 20.8. I don't know. I'd have to see about the web server not responding. So, okay, it finished. So it basically had a 0 as well. So if you notice, this means 3 tasks. So the desktop task. So in my production environment, I have, so let's say we have, 20 different Wi-Fi devices. So I break those up into like 2 or 3 tasks. I don't want to have all the Wi-Fi devices in one task.
It's just a progress report of what's been scanned.
Right. It's an overview. So, and then I might have Windows servers in a task, and I might have clients in another task. And I break those up because I don't want to have all the Windows servers in one task.
Right.
Depends on how many you have.
And I imagine would depend on the overall structure of the organization.
Yes,
right?
It does. Right.
We have a question from Joe B. Do the production machines have the purchased version of the tool?
Oh, not for me, but you can, you know, you can make what basically Greenbone sells you hardware that has, or actually they might sell you software as well. It depends. You can buy their hardware, or you can buy their software and then install it onto your hardware. And then they will allow you to connect to their super fast feed, which updates more frequently than every week or whatever.
Okay. I had posted a note and discussed this afternoon that besides the free version, the licensed version, I want to say it was $7,900 plus for the license. So,
Oh,
yeah, the question
yeah,
all had, okay, what do we get for that kind
that
of
sounds about right.
So
You get a big
basically
thank you.
the difference is that with the license, you're getting a much more frequent update of the vulnerability.
And you get support from you won't have to like monkey with the software if it's not working right. They'll come in and fix it for you remotely.
All right.
Now, do you want to see some birds? This has nothing to do with OpenVAS.
The first state, it's kind of like what we were talking about with the controversy last month about Red Hat and what they've been doing with. Somebody help me out. Not Fedora. What was the
Enterprise, probably?
Yeah,
Red Hat Enterprise.
But there was the rolling version that you could get.
CentOS.
CentOS. Thank you.
Right.
But now they want you to run. They're not going to support CentOS anymore. Now you just are expected to run with the
I see. Yes.
Development version. Yeah. So, but you're saying that's kind of the same thing. If you're using the open source version of GVM or OpenVAS, you're basically working with the bleeding edge. You may be getting a new bug.
Yes. Yes. And so they do have an environment. This actually is their this is their environment. Their whatever it is, the Greenbone forum or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
So I found they have all kinds of stuff here. And they have this professional edition. Yeah, online premises solutions. And they, 20.08 works on Ubuntu. People install it, this Greenbone version, on many different Linux machines. It just so happened that just recently they pre-installed GVM into Kali, which made it a lot easier to install to configure OpenVAS. And I have a feeling that even though this is a little bit hokey right now, I bet you in like a few months they're already talking about updating this and making it a little bit less forcing the people to configure, because people are on this forum constantly complaining about something. Even though it sort of tells the developers that, hey, we need to fix this and that. So I mean, it like you said, I think this is their feedback environment. I don't know. It's, you know, and obviously you use the search. There's all kinds of stuff in here. Web timeouts. So I have to do some more research to fix this problem. Of course, I got my book coming out, so I'm also working on that. So I'm trying to basically help the small business owner that is not paying attention, that says, you know, just like what Steve was saying, that, you know, it's not going to hurt me. I don't have anything on my machine.
Yeah, let's talk about sizing. Obviously, you talked about Pfizer, which is obviously a big enterprise level company. So what's the appropriate target audience for GVM? I mean, obviously it's good for the big enterprise. How about the medium scale business? Something where you're running half a dozen servers. Is that overkill?
So okay, look at what's happening with. I have a client who has like 10 servers, a couple of hundred client machines, and a whole bunch of printers and other things. Mm-hmm. We're trying to figure out if we can test the printers, because you know, I was kind of thinking, you know, maybe
you should.
I know the problem is though that printers are very finicky if you test them incorrectly. I may have to do a subset scan and not do the full scans, because I've read in where it says that if once you ran a full scan, the printer printed all its paper.
Oh.
It printed everything. It just kept printing because it printed, you know, like a few things on every page.
Oh my gosh.
So there is some quirkinesses with scanning, and this is why I haven't been scanning printers. So this environment basically has 400 or 500 devices, but realistically your footprint is like 200, 300. And in this environment, you know, the IT department does the best they can, but they install a new machine. You know how it is. You thought you installed everything, you installed all the patches, but you missed one. I mean, it happens. The guy is not a dumb guy. He's not trying to pull one over. It's just because you're doing so many things in a week. So it happens that you it's good to have somebody double check you. So I would say anything, probably if it's 1, 2, 3 servers, you're probably doing it yourself. At a certain point, what has to happen is when you're so busy with the environment, where you're just busy all the time, and then you're coming in on the weekends to do certain tasks. In that environment, you probably need somebody to double check you. Someone like me, or just have one of your friends or whatever come in, and this software is very useful in that environment. So I think it just depends on the resources that the IT department resources, how important IT is. And you know, I had an attorney who had just like 6 people in there, and eventually he's like, well, I don't need you anymore because they went to the cloud. Which, yeah.
Oh boy.
I told him, so you realize you're now at the cloud. You're at the behest of these guys. He's like, yeah, that's okay. All right. Like, he's an attorney, so I'm not going to tell him anything. you can't tell everybody everything. If they might want to do it their own way, the cloud isn't a solution for everybody, for everything. Well, I know I don't have to tell you guys. You guys know all this stuff, but it's just funny.
This is Stan. I've kind of given up on using Windows, but I know a couple of years ago I used to run the Belkin Advisor, and it would show you patches that you thought you had installed, and the Windows would tell you that you had installed them, but this Belkin Advisor would say you didn't. It didn't take. It didn't. It just, you need to go back and reinstall it.
Right.
And I'm sure there's other tools like that do a much better job of showing you where things are broken. And Belkin Advisor was something that I used to look at all the time. And
well, there's that, but there are Windows tools which you have to pay for.
You're right. Right.
I mean, even that though, I think it's a matter of what am I doing here? Is there? Uh-oh. Anyway. I was trying to pull up something to show you, but so in an environment with 50 machines or 20 machines, Windows 10 becomes obsolete, even though it's still Windows 10, as you know. You may not know. I was going to pull that up for you, but I think it's farting on me, so it's all right. So basically, every 2 or 3 years, the Windows version becomes obsolete. So you have to make sure that the newest version is on there. Even though it says Windows 10, the new version of Windows 10, the release version. So I've had clients, I went in and scanned the machines, and they had an older release version, which is obsolete. So technically that machine does not update anymore. So it can update, but what it does is, to update, it has to update a forklift. So you have to do some manual tasks. And that person was not doing that. So, and I basically forced them to do it, otherwise they're going to be out of compliance. So there's many reasons why you need to run this scanning software to help you out. And the scan software will tell you that's a 10.0, because basically the machine does not update anymore until you manually do something. It's not updating anymore. So anyway, I don't know what else to show you on here besides what I've already shown you. I mean, it's just a Kali Linux machine. It's not really a Kali presentation. I haven't really set up anything else. I really wanted to try to get these reports to work, but we'll have to wait. Obviously, it's not working here. It's not going to work, because this is not supposed to look like that, right? This thing here, that's bad. Anyway, all right. What else? I mean, if you had multiple people on the machine, you could play with these things. haven't really worked on the alerts and the scheduling. I suppose I could do that, but I like to actually know what's going on with the machine. And the reason, though, I look at it is OpenVAS, this version is not, it's not their paid version. So I like to know what's going on with that machine. In case something happens, I can turn off the scans, which you won't be able to do if you're scheduling a scan, you don't know what's going on. So these asset things are useful sometimes because it tells you all the machines that you have scanned or set up a task for. And it does figure out which OS it is. Well, I guess the LG has WebOS. WebOS is not Linux. What the heck is that? Is WebOS Linux? I don't know. That's what it claims. I'll have to look into that.
Yeah, WebOS was the successor to Palm OS after Palm OS was rewritten with a Linux kernel.
Oh. Well, it's kind of funny, isn't it? Linux is in almost everything now.
Yep.
Okay.
One thing going back to from the beginning of the talk, you've been using the term feed. Now, is that a new terminology from the old way of doing open?
Now, yeah, so in the past, when you updated the machine, you would run a command. That's not the command right here. Sorry. So in the past, the old commands were this. Let me make them bigger. These were the old commands. These are the commands on my production machine. And from before this, they were slightly different. You wouldn't even have to put the user in. So this is the GVM user. So in the current system, in this test system, it's called Greenbone Feed Sync. This is the command to update the GVM data, the NVT stuff. Before, the command was Greenbone NVT Sync. And you know, you can still type it in. You can still do the old command now. Of course, you have to, for it to work, I have to do this.
Those old commands, that's the same command language that Nessus used.
Yeah. That's the old commands from OpenVAS. I'm not sure about Nessus.
Okay.
Remember, OpenVAS was, here's the, of course, you won't be able to, I actually pulled up the history from their website. Mm-hmm. It's kind of small. But it says in 2005, it's when it all started. It came from Nessus.
Right.
So it went through some configuration. So I guess the German government got involved. Then this company, Greenbone Networks GmbH, that's like the RLLC. This GmbH is the German version of that.
Right.
And then they had, these guys came in from Canada and in India. They improved it a little. And by 2010, the certs 2017 OpenVAS framework was reached to version 9. Version 9 actually was the first almost like a forklift change where a lot of things changed. But and then to now from 9 to 11, there's not too many things changed. From 11 to 20, a lot of things are changing. So they've been updating and making a lot of changes since then. So I would guess that that command is all the way back to 2010, but not earlier.
Tony, do they have any man pages?
Oh, I don't. We can try it. Cert data sync. It has a few more. Oh, there you go. Well, that's cool. Downloaded. Oh, it's still doing it. See, I'm hoping one of these is going to be the reports. I'm not sure. These look like more certs or whatever. Something to do with the cryptology here. I doubt it. Anyway. Oh, there's some. Yeah, there you go. There's some man pages. GVMD is the main daemon, the Greenbone Vulnerability Manager daemon.
Might find something with apropos also, I would think. Maybe, if there's additional stuff.
Yeah, so they've changed multiple things. I'm gonna have to go back to the forum and find out. They kind of wanted me to insert the reports in a certain way, and I wasn't able to figure it out in like a half hour, an hour.
Right.
Sorry about that. Otherwise, that's other than that, you guys saw everything, other than the reports. So technically, since reports are for the management, you guys don't really care about that.
Yeah.
So everything was successful.
Yeah.
Yay.
So I wanted to show you guys, you know, I'm like, one of the things I did is mess with birds. So I don't know if you guys are familiar with these starlings. There's like 4 of them. They're very aggressive. They came over from Europe in 1890 or something. And they took over the whole, they're all everywhere now. There's like 4 of them in several of my videos. I never even saw them before, but now all of a sudden I'm seeing them everywhere, all the time. They like that suet stuff, I guess. Anyway, I gotta do something while I'm hanging around the house.
Starlings have killed out a lot of the native birds here in Missouri.
I agree. I think so.
Because when I was a kid, there were all kinds of bluebirds and canaries and wrens and things like that. That starlings have killed them out. A lot of them. That and they're almost as bad as the blue jays.
Yeah. Well, the blue jay doesn't come by when the squirrels are here. But if the squirrels decide to leave, then he comes by. I mostly have cardinals anyway. There's like six cardinals.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have cardinals, bluebirds, see a few blue jays. Not too many.
I like the woodpeckers. The red-bellied woodpecker is nice. That's a pretty big one actually. Like 11 inches.
Wow.
Yeah, he's huge. The
Don't
downy
argue with him.
the downy woodpecker comes by most of the time, but periodically the red-bellied dude comes around. Yeah, I think we're kind of screwed with the reports. We'll have to fix that another time.
Ready?
That's all I got.
Buddy has any final questions for Tony? While people are thinking, I'll make a quick reference since we talked about Alexa and the Internet of Things. There was a TV show on. I believe I probably had mentioned it in Discuss, and I know I'd put it on the calendar. It was a show on Fox at the beginning of this TV season. It was called Next, N-E-X-T, and it was written in the script that the Next company that Steve Jobs had that Apple bought, that Next. But that was never mentioned in the show. But the thread of the show was there was this super artificial intelligence. I can best describe it as if you think of the HAL 9000 starring in the old Forbin Project movie, and it was had megalomania ideas of taking over the world, and it was homicidal. Only now in the age of the internet, with the Internet of Things, basically this artificial intelligence could do things like eavesdrop on your Alexa, and
nice.
Made for I thought a really interesting twist to the TV show. Amazingly, Fox did no publicity telling people it was on. You literally had to stumble on it. So it'd be nice if more people found out about it. So, anyway, I know they ended at the half season, and I haven't seen it come back on the air since the holidays. So.
Somebody told me it was canceled.
Oh, no. Darn it. That's a shame. I think if they had publicized it, it might have caught on.
It was a good show.
So I do have a couple things here. I found this. This is in case I didn't have very much to show you. So this is from the previous quarter, I believe. So if you notice this 140, and this is for my production machine. So if you go back, let's go back to the NBT, it's 63,963. And this was actually, yeah, it's interesting that there's actually a little less, well, it was a little less back then. That makes sense. So it's more now than then. And the CVE profiles, last quarter, it was 149,000. So today it's, of course, this is a different version, but it's 156,000. So in a few months, they added 7,000 of them roughly. So the other thing that I wanted to show you is this is from the production machine. I did a GVMD minus version. So they show 9.01 from the production system. And then it also has an LSB release. This shows you what Kali Linux. So just to prove that I had 2020.3 on that machine. So this is the Linux release version command that I looked up. So if we do it on the command line, is it dash underscore -A. So right, it's 2020.4 on this one. which is good because that's what I installed on it. So, and then what did I do over there on the production? I did GVMD minus version. I can only do it right. Oh, see, yeah. So this is 20.08. This is their latest. So I'm on the bleeding edge here. Great. But it makes sense that it's not working then. Something's not working. That's how the bleeding edge works. Okay, so that's the final thing I had to show you.
Ready.
Great. Let's roll up the sidewalks.
Right. Yeah, they had me. I was trying to do this command, but that wasn't working either. So what can I say? Anyway, I'll figure it out. Something to do with the reports, and they're not accepting.
Yeah.
It has to be set up so it can accept, and then you have to run the feed, and then hopefully it'll accept it. Anyway, I'll let you know what happens. I'll fix it.
There's a comment from Joe B. Skynet, and I'm afraid, Joe, I'm not sure what that was in reference to. That was actually from about 5 minutes ago. So.
Oh, I think that was from the Terminator.
Ah,
right.
Okay. That was when I was talking about the sci-fi show. Okay.
Yeah.
All righty. Anybody else got any questions for Tony?
Tony, you mentioned something about a book.
Yes. I have a book. It's going to be out very soon. I have, it's being edited in the publishing stage. So I edited it and re-edited it and all the rest of it. It's got about 40,000 words. Lots of, I'm basically trying to talk to the non-techie person. I'm trying to talk to the small business manager or owner or people who talk to those people. And trying to convince them to do more with cybersecurity. Because I've learned that there is actually a psychology of cybersecurity, which is, you know, I've read it from, I don't know if you guys know Bruce Schneier.
Yes.
He's an old timer consultant, cybersecurity consultant from the 90s, etc. So he had a book, and he calls it the psychology of cybersecurity or security, psychology of security. So you know how when you go and gamble, you take money and you want to make more money, right? That's the gambler, the casino gambler. So for whatever reason, we do not want to spend money to lose less money. As a society, approximately 30% of the people are not on board with spending money so that way they will not get destroyed on security, on cybersecurity. And those are the people that are screwing us all.
They're adverse to paying for security.
Right. Well, I mean, I didn't get hit last month, and I don't have anything on my machine. There's all kinds of reasons. He goes over it all, and I bring up some of that stuff in my book. So I'm basically trying to talk to these people. And, you know, we'll see if I'm successful. Obviously, I would like to make some money and stuff like that, but My real purpose is to actually improve cybersecurity. And interestingly enough, I've learned that the way you get people to change their mind is by getting a friend to talk to them, because they're more likely to listen to a friend. So really what I need to be doing is selling to people and having the people convince the powers that be somehow. We'll see what happens. But, you know, I'm putting my best foot forward. It's sort of a independent publisher, but so I paid for, we're both putting in some skin in the game. So I didn't pay for it all. He's paying for some of it. And if we sell a lot of them, then we'll both get paid back what we put in.
Do you have an ebook version?
Right.
Oh, it will be an ebook?
Huh? I'm sorry?
Will it be electronic or paper?
Both.
Oh, cool.
Everything.
Be sure to let us know when it's available.
I will.
Tony?
Yes.
This is Joe again. Quick question. Before you were talking about, you know, the requirements for PCI and scanning and everything.
Yes.
Do the PCI requirements, do they have any like specifications of what you're required to scan with, or you're just required to scan?
Well, so that's a whole other topic. Now, PCI is the payment card industry, which was put together in the early 2000s by the 5 credit card companies, the major ones, Amex, MasterCard, Visa, Discover, and
Amex.
I think there's one more, but it's an odd one. But anyway, so they started out telling people this is what you should do to be more secure. But as time went on, people were just not doing the basic things, just like, you know, what we're talking about. So they don't actually tell you exactly what to do. There is some legislation coming, and out of New York, and to some degree out of California, that is telling you exactly what to do, which is ridiculous. But, you know, that's what, of course, the New York people are talking to the financial industry only. Well, that's what they think they're doing. So I think that eventually they will tell you exactly what to do. But right now, it's up to you. They're not even requiring you to do, well, they want you to test your machines. They're not telling you exactly how. You know, there's a lot into it. So you're supposed to have a PCI compliance person who is certified in PCI compliance. It sort of depends on how many credit card receipts you have. It also depends on how much money you take in through the credit card receipts. So if you're into the millions, then you will get a lot bigger scrutiny. If you're into the 100,000s, if you're into the, you know, I did 5 credit card receipts last month. Really, nobody's looking at you. And Visa, they will find out you got hacked after you're hacked. They'll then go back and say, oh, the following 5 people all went to Schnucks. They know when Schnucks got hacked, they knew before Schnucks did. That's true, though. I mean, it's kind of interesting how that works. And, you know, and what happened to Schnucks? They didn't go out of business. They paid a fine. They spent a lot more money on cybersecurity, but they're still around. This is the problem with the the small business owner, they're like, why should I spend money? I'll just see if I can get away with it. Because, you know, there's a lot of people that are not, they're still around. Target got hacked. They're still around. But that's a completely, you know, they shouldn't be comparing themselves to these big companies. You can always do something to make yourself look like a smaller target. And, you know, the number one thing, like who was saying that? The email, the phishing through the email is the 90-something% of attacks are coming through the phishing. That's the truth. That's it right there.
We receive phishing emails all the time from our own security group. And if you happen to open one, it like automatically signs you up for more security training.
Yeah.
Yeah, right. Well, my son is, you know, he's an MBA student now, but he's working. So he's working for this public company, and he knows about all this stuff. So he's like showing me his cell phone. Oh, look, Dad, this is the test. You know, because they're doing social engineering tests. They want to see if you click on the link or not. If you're, you know, because there are some people that do that. And even in the test, that's not good, of course, because that means you're gullible enough to open up a real phishing. Yes, you need more training, sir. That was funny when he showed me that. It's like, yeah, this is it. That's your IT department testing you. And that's another thing is we found out it's proven, it's known, if you don't do these tests within a certain number, like, and you got to do it frequently, people forget. It's just it's not in front of them. It's not like they're not IT people. They don't know what it looks like. They're busy. Stuff happens. And then you click on it. You know, hey, everybody has their weak points. You know, I don't know, but everyone has one.
I remember getting caught a couple years back. I was after a long week of work. I was just looking through it. I thought it was from my dad. And before I knew it, my account was sending out emails to everyone. So it just takes that one slip up.
Yeah. Yeah, it's easy to say it doesn't happen to me, but I think we all have to realize that, you know, it doesn't matter who you are. I mean, I have to catch myself. I purposefully still have my own email. I don't use Gmail. You know, I use Gmail, but I get like 4 emails on it, you know, maybe 12 emails in a year. I mean, and Gmail would do a better job catching all the crap that comes in, but I like to see the crap. There's a lot of Russian stuff that's coming in, I'm telling you.
I've got a question, Tony. You know anything about Proton Mail out of Switzerland?
Oh, Proton, yeah. There's all kinds of Russian crazy email domain names. I mean, I've heard of Proton. If I see an email like that, the ones that are really bad are the ones like the PW, the .pws, there's a couple of islands in the Pacific that for whatever reason the hackers they got enamored with that stuff. So they're sending out all kinds of spam with that.
Well, supposedly this is an email system that comes out of CERN, Switzerland.
Okay.
And I signed up for an account the other day, and interestingly enough, they said, make up a username and make up a password and don't forget it.
Right.
Because you're going to screw yourself. And they never ask for any identifying information.
Right.
And
Yeah.
you know, is all of this true? I don't really know, but you know, they claim to be operating under Swiss privacy laws.
Well, yeah, that's the other thing.
We don't have any of that stuff anymore. If you watch what they're doing today
in Europe,
there is no more privacy here.
Yeah,
it's illegal to have privacy.
Right.
You
Oh
know?
yeah. So I'm basically a millionaire like 12 times over with all the different emails that I get.
Oh yeah.
I'll tell you how I earned $2,000 from $128 in 3 days.
Yeah. You know, there must be people out there that actually believe that kind of garbage, or
There
they
is.
stop doing it.
That's why they keep sending them.
Yeah.
Think about it this way. All it takes is a few people to answer it, and they've made money.
9 o'clock warning.
Yes, we got to get going. All right, very good.
Well, thank you very, very, very much, Tony, once again. We all appreciate it, and we'll look forward to your book.
All right, thank you. Thanks for forcing me to install the bleeding edge.
Thanks, Tony. Appreciate it.
I didn't realize I had to do that, but I guess I did. That's fine. It's all right. It's good. I needed to do it. I'll let you know when it all works out, and I'll let you know the commands.
Fantastic.
All right. Thank you.
9 o'clock. We don't have to shut down, but it's getting late. So.
No, we do. We need. It's good to. You know, I know we used to go out and have pizza or whatever, but when you're at home and stuff, let's just go on and do something else. It's plenty of things to do. Very good, guys. We'll see you next time.
Thanks again, Tony.
Thanks, Tony.
All right.
Hey, good night. Good time to go to bed.
Right. Well, I don't know about that, but anyway.
All right. And Dave made a wonderful closing comment. Thank you, Dave.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Still have to work for a bit longer, all you people.
Sounds like a personal problem to me.
Yep.
I know it's my fault. I like money.
Yeah.
All right, guys. See you later.
All righty. I got to get off too. So thank you all for coming. And Stan, I guess it's up to you. If you want to leave it up, or if you need to take the meeting room down now.
At this point, I'll shut down the recordings at least.
Okay.
I'll just make one last comment.
Go ahead.
The story I heard was that at some point in time down the road, all the Red Hat security updates will stop once they change it over to Blue Hat.
Funny.
Good night, everybody.
All right.
Good night, Joe.
Yeah.
Oh, golly.
All righty. I got to run off too. So thank you all for coming this evening. And we hope to see you at the next meeting.
All right. Take care.
And anybody who just wants to stay in the